Hello, it's Daniel and Gav here from IGN, and we're going to take a look at the short 30-second trailer that appeared on Twitter.
Lots of Star Wars footage.
We're going to look at images from the trailer. But what we're not going to hear is the voiceover that goes throughout the 30-second spot, which I think is Lupita Nyong'o's character.
It's got to be.
Maz Kanata. And there's lots of clues in the trailer itself that kind of lends credence to that theory.
Yeah.
So first off, the opening shot is the Millennium Falcon, and I think this is the planet Takodana.
Okay.
And in the distance there, you can see a castle. And we know Maz Kanata has this castle. It was appeared in the Vanity Fair pictures.
That's right,
released ages ago. And she's a female pirate. She owns this castle, which is home to like riffraff and scumbags and smugglers. Kind of an equivalent to Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Millennium Falcon is heading towards.
Yeah. But I think I think this is going to be one of the main drives of like the second act, I think.
Okay.
Whereas like this is kind of like their mission they're going on. So they've got in contact with Han for whatever reason. You've had that line, it's true, all of it. And then they're going to Maz Kanata to find something.
Yeah, and also what I like about this is we keep seeing the Millennium Falcon in multiple locations. We've seen it on Jakku initially. We've seen it here on Takodana. Yeah. And later in this trailer, you also see it on the Snow Planet. So this is very much a New Hope style. This is the vessel for our heroes.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think as well, like, because that's a really interesting point that the Millennium Falcons like appeared in a lot of it. What if, right? You know that line from the second trailer, "Chewie, we're home." What if that's right at the beginning? Can you imagine if there's like an opening?
I wonder if they get it back right at the beginning.
That's the opening, though. Like, so the opening is not like Rey and
cold opening.
Yeah, exactly. Like an almost like James Bond style, like them getting the Millennium Falcon back.
I love the metafictional aspect of that, where the audience go, "Yes, it feels like we are."
Exactly.
I instantly start crying.
Yeah.
So above this, we hear what I think is Maz Kanata saying, "I have lived long enough to see the same eyes in different people."
Yeah.
So there's a lot to like infer in this trailer from the way it cuts between people, whether it's true or not. It's applying connections, and when you hear that, initially you see Rey, Han Solo in kind of Hoth gear on the Snow Planet.
Okay, so I think they're playing with us here.
Oh yeah,
I think so. I think we're being
played. You're not
going
to reveal it, but
no, I think the eyes thing is hope. That's what she's seen in a lot of people. She's lived long enough to see hope in a lot of people's eyes, because this is where we are. You know, it ties into this idea of Star Wars and hope, and A New Hope. That was the name of one of the films, wasn't it? Yeah. So I think they know that this is what we're thinking, and they must be playing up on that. But at the same time, do they know that's what we're all thinking? Because we exist in this bubble of nerds where we're constantly looking at this stuff and like trying to read into different things. Yeah. Is everyone else doing that?
Well, yeah, I think the figurative reading is a good one. I think they know they know that people will take it in a literal way, because there's so much speculation about the lineage of Rey herself. And then you hear more kind of subsequent dialogue from Maz Kanata saying, "I see your eyes." Then we see Poe Dameron, we see Finn. Yeah. So again, that lends credence to the theory that it's figurative. All these people are united in hope and resistance.
The thing that I really like about this shot is we've seen this shot a couple of times now, but the thing that I really like about it is the recognition, the look of recognition between the two of them, which leads me to believe that I think this is going to happen way, way, way into the film. Like maybe even the last bit, like where people are going off to, start this, get into a war, get into a battle. Maybe I just like there's something really sad and about the way they look at each other. Exactly,
it's just the look of recognition is like, we've got something to do here.
Yeah, but also the look of recognition, the fact that they don't talk to each other, maybe leads me to believe that his storyline doesn't cross with Finn's that much, maybe, or when they crossed when we've seen John Boyega Finn as a stormtrooper.
I was thinking this. What is when he's a First Order trooper? Yeah. And there's almost like this kind of look of like, we're now together in this. Yeah. And then so because
it could be that John Boyega's character as a stormtrooper like took Poe Dameron. He's being tortured in that other trailer that we saw. Maybe he's one of the stormtroopers that's leading him off in the behind the scenes footage we saw in Comic-Con as well. That could be his stormtrooper, and then that's why he turns, because he's just like, what you're doing to these people is wrong. What about that?
Who knows? And then I'm going to the final line spoken in the trailer possibly conflicts the figurative interpretation of seeing eyes. It ends with Rey, and it says, "I know your eyes."
Right, okay.
So while it might in general be talking about hope, and that could still stand, the final line kicks in, "I know your eyes."
Yeah.
So does she see something? Is there a Skywalker in her? Is there solo in her?
Yeah.
Maybe there's something there.
Maybe.
Now, we get some, it kind of closes with some kind of more action shots.
Yeah.
There's another one on Takadana, which, where Rey is looking to the sky and she sees a ship, which I recognise from a Lego set.
Yeah.
As a first order transporter.
That's
and
right.
Interestingly, that set is the only set in which you get the Captain Phasma minifig.
That's right.
So I'm wondering if that is basically her dropship.
Yeah, I guess so. I think that's the ship we've seen since the beginning. I think the one we see all the stormtroopers in at the beginning, the one we see them like, sort of like running off and stuff like that. And actually, in that first trailer, you see them running off into like a watery type planet as well. Like it looks like a bog, and I think that's got to be Takadana.
Yeah, and there's like multiple of them. There's one behind it as well, higher up in the sky.
Also, like that's one of the most boring Lego sets I've ever seen. I think. Who's buying that?
People who want a Captain Phasma minifig, and that's how they get you.
Yeah, that is how they get you. This one then, so this is like a new sequence as well, like when you see the actual fight sequence.
Looks like she's maybe some kind of black market.
Yeah, I think so. In Jakku, maybe we've seen her all the time. I think she's using her staff as more of like a Darth Maul
she's
type
moving it
thing.
like that. Yeah, she looks pretty. Even though she's not trained at this point, she looks like she can handle herself.
She looks like a badass. Yeah.
A couple of explosions coming up next. X-wing flyby.
Yeah.
This looks like Takadana, but is this Starkiller base? And we've kind of speculated that that's not maybe because it looks a bit like reminiscent of the Death Star battle at the end of New Hope, but it looks like it's embedded within a planet.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
which makes sense. It being a base rather than a star or an entity in its own right.
Yeah, and then we see a little bit more of the footage we've seen a lot of is the Millennium Falcon being chased by a TIE fighter, which we think maybe is in
the Star
Destroyer.
Yeah, which we see in the first trailer.
Yeah.
Now, these two final shots we're going to talk about are kind of interesting. So there's this one where the way they cut it implies that Rey is shooting at Ren. Now, those shots could be unrelated. It could be someone else. They do this a lot in trailers where they apply connections when they don't actually exist.
Yeah.
And the way he's walking towards it, I don't know, something about those mossy walls that kind of reminds me of the dream sequence in Dagobah, the nightmare sequence. Like, what if some of this stuff doesn't actually, that could not be happening? This could be a vision. This could, this is a, Star Wars visions, kind of these dreams happen.
Yeah.
So this could not be real.
That is something that we haven't really talked about. Is like, what if all these different visions and stuff? What if we're not seeing them actually played out as they're meant to be played out? Because, that would kind of explain, say we've got Poe and Finn who are kind of like Force sensitive, and maybe they've been seeing each other in each other's visions. Because the shots we've seen of like Rey who like screaming and the shot we've seen of Poe like being tortured, they're really similar. They're a really similar way of like being lit and things like that. What if they're all having this one vision of Kylo Ren like coming to get them?
Well, I think that shot in a few trailers back where you see the entire planet being decimated by a nuclear blast, that could quite easily be a vision.
Yeah. And then finally we see Rey flying the Millennium Falcon, which is something that's been like alluded to quite a lot. Like the Vanity Fair thing, we see her sitting in the cockpit.
Yeah, and also in the Comic-Con behind the scenes, you see her in the pod on like
in the pod bit,
around. And I think this is kind of interesting that she's flying it, and also if you think it could be Solo's daughter, it's kind of cool that she's flying the Millennium Falcon.
She hasn't just robbed it.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's what we kind of got out of the latest Star Wars trailer. For everything on the film before it comes out, stay right here on IGN.